4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we are live on YouTube as well.
Oh my.
Yay. So we're live. So watch what you say, Ben.
I see my friend Mike Herbin is joining us here. He's not on audio just yet. I might, he's another audio engineer friend of mine. Kevin, I might just have you talk again and see if Mike's with us now. So Mike, see if you recognize his voice. I don't know if you've ever worked with Travis LeDoit or not, but listen to Kevin's voice.
No, stop it. Now you're just making fun of me.
I tell you what, it's a dead ringer, man. It's
you guys are too much.
Well, thanks for joining me, everybody. Ron, thanks for putting this together. This is not an area that I would typically be talking on. Obviously, most of you who've seen me present or speak, it's going to be on technology related things. So this might be a little bit different, but contrary to popular belief, I am a human being and I have human feelings and emotions. So,
No.
Mike Urban, when's the last time you shaved? You're looking good, man.
It's a Corona beard.
I like it. It suits you. Again, Mike's a friend of mine, another live sound guy. So I put together a list of a few things from my non-qualified opinion about what we can do with this newfound time that we have. Of course, many of us, our routines are significantly disrupted. We're not, we're not doing gigs. We're maybe at home. I think everybody knows me pretty well, knows that I've probably not even been in this city for 2 weeks straight, let alone in my house. So this is a new experience for me for sure. I feel like I have a bus or a plane to catch or something. And so even though our entire situation is disrupted, that's one of the first things that I've pressed upon our staff, and I think is really important for all of you, is we got to try to keep some kind of routine, So get up at a scheduled time, take a shower, brush your teeth, do the things you would normally do, except shave, right, Mike? So, it's
Exactly.
Me too, buddy. Me too. But just try to keep it. Otherwise, we allow ourselves to kind of slip into that funk, right? And that can start to drag us down. And it's just amazing how much better I feel, I think personally, when I kind of get up and keep a routine. And we have a morning video meeting for our marketing staff, and that helps too. It's like reporting to work, even if it's virtually speaking. And what we're doing right now kind of checks off number 2 on my list. And I'll just kind of run through my list, and then we'll just kind of kick it around conversationally a little bit. And I'd love to, learn from you as much as share these things I've thought of with you. But number 2 is connect. And what a great time to do that. I think most important for those of you in the events business, connecting with your clients, both current, because they're obviously, if they had a spring event, that event is being postponed. Or if they have a fall event, you're still in the process of planning that. So what a great opportunity. They've got time to plan that, and so do you. But also, a great time to really make that connection and endear yourself to them. And another one I think is prospective clients. What a great time. And Peter, I realize I'm stepping dangerously into your wheelhouse here, but what a great time to be talking to prospective clients and showing them why you're the right source for them. And it's really encouraging to me because I see again and again people that are still booking events. And of course, that just underscores the point. The world is going to go on. So Neil McKinney, is that you? What's up, brother? How are you? Hopefully events are back up and running by the fall. So I can see you at that festival again and we can make some big boom boom. Yeah. So, all right. That's and Mike Herbin's seen my rig. He knows. So anyway,
It's nice.
And Neil's. Mike Herbin? Have you ever met my friend Neil?
I don't believe so.
I don't think we.
I'm gonna play matchmaker then. I'll get y'all together.
Okay, sounds good.
They're talking about a new country festival at that same horse park next year, maybe too. So I'll keep you posted. But now, if those who stalk my Facebook know that it turns out I do in fact have a cowboy hat. I didn't even know that. Anyway. Still on my number 2 item is connecting. What a great time to do what we're doing right now with each other. Just connect. I can't think of how many times I wish I had time to talk to people and I didn't, and now I do. And so I don't want to squander that. I talked to my great aunt today. I want to talk to y'all. There's that y'all goes with the cowboy hat. And you know, so not just our colleagues, but also partners. And we'll talk a little bit more about this as I get a little bit down my list. But I guess, you know, I'm an example, a partner to y'all in the DJ industry. So if you have questions or thoughts or, you know, random physics questions, there's probably not been a better time to ask. I'm not running through an airport. I'm not in the middle of a tour. I am staying surprisingly busy, but if you have questions for your partners or your vendors, now is a really great time to ask. Plus, it helps us to keep our sanity. We feel, useful, right? And I only have 8 items on my list, and I'll go through them here quick. But number 3, this is getting back into my wheelhouse. Thanks for letting me romp through your neighborhood, Peter. But here's back to my wheelhouse. Organize, clean, and service your equipment. Now, of everybody in this chat, I know that Mike Herman has undoubtedly spent the most time in our warehouse of anybody because he's from my hood. But Mike, you won't even believe this. You could eat off the floor in that warehouse right now.
He finally had some time to do it.
I think they waxed it even. That thing's beautiful. And they're going through gear and going through road cases, and you can do the same thing. Go through your cables, test them all, get the kinks out of them. If you're lucky enough that it's not snowing outside where you live, because it is here, take your cables outside, nice sunny day, and let them soften up a little bit and get them trained again, So a good time to get some of those things done. And that really ties right into number 4 for me on my list, which, Susan apparently likes things kinky. Also out of my wheelhouse. So we'll just keep moving on.
Are you taking questions at all now, or you want to wait till you're done?
I don't really matter. I think being the ADHD poster child, maybe I'll just get through the list and then we'll take some questions.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll never get to the end of the list. So
Sounds good.
If that's all right with everybody else. Thank you. Number 4 on my list, and don't worry, I've got the list written down. So if you forgot where they were, we can go back to them. But number 4 would be implement upgrades. And this could be a number of different things. As we're going through the gear and we're cleaning it and we're organizing it and, that sort of thing, this could be, new gear. And I know right now everybody's like, I'm not buying new gear. I don't have any gigs. Okay, well, let me tell you something. And I'm not telling you need to buy gear, but I'll just tell you an interesting pattern. The slowest time of the year for us from purchases from DJs is summer, because that's when you're the busiest, when you don't have time to be implementing new gear. So now you do have the time, and I understand there's the money thing. So, I'm not saying you need to go buy new gear, but I'm just saying this is the time to do it. And it ties right into the other part of this, firmware updates. If your gear has firmware to update, this is the time to do it, not Friday night before your gig. I can't tell you how many times I've had calls on Saturday. Help, my thing doesn't work anymore. It worked yesterday. What'd you do? Well, I updated the firmware. Oh, no. So do it now when that gear is going to be parked for a week or 2 or 3. And, if you brick the thing, there's time to fix it. Or if you, just need, I have a guy who bought a Denon Prime 4, and I think he bought it in, Neil just messaged. Yeah, we've got some Digico boards to update firmware and to update the new OS. But I have a guy who bought a Prime 4, I think in December, just installed the new update because, he had time to kind of learn the new workflow, and it's like a whole new controller, and he absolutely loves the thing. He liked it before, now he loves it. So great time to do that. In addition to maybe adding, rewiring your racks, a little bit more speed, some custom, panels or, cables and things like that just speed. And I know, again, I got at least 2 pals here that have touring backgrounds, and speed is the name of the game, isn't it not? Number 5 on my list, learn. Almost everybody's offering free learning right now. Avixa, sure, all kinds of people have webinars and stuff going on. I sat through 2 or 3 Sennheiser ones. I spent most of yesterday correcting people in a Sennheiser one. It was pretty funny, actually. I got some laughs out of the guys in Germany. But what a great time to put more knowledge in your head. What a great time to go watch some of the 200 shows John Young and I've done. Sorry for the shameless plug. I'm just seeing how far I can go with this before people start clicking out. And this brings me to number 6. you know, obviously we talked a bit about, you know, equipment development, professional development, that sort of thing. But number 6 kind of brings us back to where we started number 1 with our routine. Take care of you. All right. Take care of you. Get plenty of sleep, which is hard. And by the way, if you're not sleeping well right now, I'm not sleeping well right now either. And that's normal. You know, we're in a time of crisis, and we are basically programmed biologically to be alert during times of crisis. Okay. You know, in times of danger, that sort of thing. So if you're not sleeping well, you know, it's frustrating, but that is normal. So do what you can to sleep, you know, as well as you can. Drink plenty of water, exercise, eat well. You know, again, try to take care of yourselves in this time. And I'm trying to practice what I preach too, just so you know. So it's a challenge for all of us. One of my favorite ones is number 7, because I always thought if I had time on my hands, I would write a book. Turns out that's not true. But also thought I would clean out my desk. Also not true. But we do have this time where we can create, we can innovate. You know, these are opportunities to really, you know, find new ways. I think the great inventive American spirit, the human spirit, even beyond that. So what a great time to reinvent yourself or create or, you know, do those kinds of things. Big Daddy, my man.
Hello, kids.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for the
Always a
phone call.
pleasure.
Big Daddy, you number 2 on my list was Connect, and you could have wrote the book on that. Now we're on number 7, which is writing a book. But that brings me to number 8. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, I should have wrote a book, or I should have redone all my gear, or I should have done this, and you haven't done any of it, and you're frustrated, understand that that's okay too. You know, that is totally okay. And so one of the things that I've had to talk to myself about more than anything is to say, hey, time out. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to just chill for a minute. You know, when the brain is quiet, then the creation will come. But I think if you're, you know, it's like if I say, okay, for the next 10 seconds, whatever you do not think of a giraffe. You're going to think of a giraffe, you know? And so I think if you try so hard to create, you can't be creative. And so it's okay to be a little bit quiet. It's okay to be a little bit, I would even say, numb. You know, this is an unprecedented thing. Nobody in human history has experienced this situation. There have been pandemics and plagues and epidemics, but this is unique to us. So that goes back to, I think, kind of ties into with taking care of yourself, but just, it's okay to not be okay for a little bit. All right. So there's my 8 things. Now let's discuss.
So I had a question on the storing of on equipment. I think it was what, number 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I've seen this question online a lot. I store my equipment in my garage. Is it okay, especially this time where I'm not using it? Should I mean, I keep my speakers inside, but I keep my board and my console out in the garage. What would be the wise thing to do?
That's probably okay. And you're in you know, Kansas, so your temperatures aren't going to be real extreme right now. I have done some shows on cold weather storage and that sort of thing. Heat is more of an issue, but again, you're not going to have, you know, substantial heat at this point. Most important thing, I think, is to try to keep dirt and dust out of those things. Ironically, John and I just did a show on how to clean gear. Obviously, he picks the topics, I don't, so that must have been on somebody's mind. But I think probably the big thing is going to be battery storage. If you have wireless lights and that sort of thing where you're worried about batteries, and that does depend on the chemistry of the battery. If you have lithium ion or lithium polymer, that sort of thing, you're going to want to probably keep them about half charged. Having them at a full charge will cause the greatest degradation of the battery. So maybe just run them till they're about half, you know, not scientific, but just somewhere in the middle, and that'll give them the longest storage. As far as your storage, you know, if it's getting over 100 degrees where you're storing that stuff, well, I wouldn't do it. Not now and not ever, really, if you can help it, you know.
Oh, the garage is sub ground, so it's always kind of cool there, so it doesn't really get that
That's
warm.
fine.
Two other quick things. One, Bob Dewson, you were greeting people a moment ago. Bob Dewson is not a DJ. He's actually he's a keynote speaker friend of mine who decided to join us today, which I think is really cool. It's just somebody popping in to see what DJs talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I got a couple of touring sound engineer friends, and we got a speaker friend, and we got Elvis Presley. So we pretty much got the whole group.
There you go. And then you were talking about taking care of yourself. Yesterday, I decided I just wanted to kind of reiterate your point. Was yesterday I decided to take the day off, and it was hard because all day you're thinking, God, I feel guilty. I should be doing something. And my wife kept telling me, just take a pill and relax. But it is hard. You're right. It's extremely hard, but it's important. Because I came in today and I was more energized when I came into the office this morning to get some stuff done that I've been putting off. So there you go.
Well, I think all the metrics that we typically use to measure our day are out of whack right now. I'm not doing any shows. Those sorts of things are not happening. So not only is it a matter of the routine is disrupted, but also, when I look at our sales metrics, I mean, I might as well not look, nothing makes sense. And, when we look at this data years from now and we look at year over year, you have to put an asterisk behind it. So, and just deep personal confession, but yesterday, I'm fighting a little cough right now, which is a terrible time to have a cough, by the way.
Yeah.
It's also allergy season. And when the snow let up for a little bit, all the allergy things got out, and now the snow's back. I just can't win. But yesterday, I just didn't feel good, and it wasn't like that I was sick. I think that, stress and that sort of thing. And I went to bed early, and I didn't work out, and I didn't do the things that I said I was going to do. And like I said, that's okay. It's not okay if that becomes the daily thing. Then we're slipping into a bad spot. But just kind of listen to our bodies a little bit. If you find a cowboy hat in your closet, put it on.
I think Sue has a message for you in the chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think this is this is something that's been done. Not just with like the love story sort of thing, but I think this is another place where people who can't attend and in the future, I mean, nobody really knows exactly what the future looks like. When will it be okay again to put 100 people into a workshop, or 1,000 people into a ballroom, or 10,000 people into an arena, or 100,000 people in a stadium? Nobody really knows when that number is going to be okay. And obviously, I mean, if you read the news, you're probably going crazy because there aren't answers, and there's a lot of people throwing things at the wall, but the truth is nobody really knows. And I really wish, by the way, sidebar, I really wish our politicians would say that, and it's a dangerous thing in politics to say you don't know, but that's the right answer. That's the scientific answer, to say, folks, here's what we know and here's what we don't know. And that's okay. I really wish somebody would do it. But I'm not holding my breath that any politician's going to say that on any side of the aisle. So, but yeah, Sue, I think that's a great thing. That maybe it's not even, related to the virus that people can't attend. Maybe it is just a simple limitation. Right now, what have we seen? Zoom went from 10 million users to 200 million users. There are 12,000 churches in the 5-state area, and I think every one of them has called us this week asking us how to stream their services. My church joined the 20th century. We'll join the 21st century next year, but this year we joined the 20th century. So, necessity is the mother of invention. So yeah, Sue, I do think so. How to stream their services. My church joined the 20th century. We'll join the 21st century next year.
I got it. I'm on it. Done.
Yeah, I hear myself coming back.
Yeah. I think Big Daddy's watching you on YouTube.
Yes, Sean Payson, he said this to me privately, but I have to say it publicly because I think you must have been in my seminar where I said that. Yeah, it was a sound seminar I was doing a couple of years ago, and I was just off to the races talking about my non-tech savvy pastor. And long story short, hey, the ice cream delivery person has just walked in. Hang on, this just
What'd you get?
I got a note. Please don't read it out loud.
It's an
Okay.
invoice.
My daughter has given me a note, some recording she wants to do, but I'm not gonna read the note. So anyway, this this sound seminar I was doing, I just slipped out in the middle of the seminar where I said, "Nice hat, Neil." I said, "Jesus, take the mute button." And I think Craig Nace actually made T-shirts that said that, "Jesus, take the mute button." And anyway, you had to be there. Peter got a cowboy hat too. Look at this. Hey, you're gonna have to go get my cowboy hat.
Yeah, it's kind of
Now that I know where it's at. Now that I know I have one. What other thoughts or questions we have, folks? I mean, I'd love to learn from you. I know you're all intelligent people, and what's working for you.
I kind of like the fact that a lot of these manufacturers are doing these free online seminars. Kind of like Smart right now they're on, I think, number 5 today of just being able to watch these things, which you would normally pay big bucks to go
Big
to.
money, yeah.
Yeah.
Send those links to me, would you? I missed that one.
Okay.
I have to get with Jamie at
Yeah.
National Acoustics and be like, "Hey, where's my invite, man?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
by the way, my continuing ed is good for my CTS. My continuing ed is good for like 6 years now. Not even kidding. I'm caught up for 6 years in the future. So yeah, learn, right, Mike? Learn.
And I think I was watching there's videos right now on how to do virtual conferences. If you want to do like a workshop, or if you've been invited to speak to a group of people, there's all sorts of great content out there on how to do a great job because the hard part of doing something like this in large groups is keeping everybody's attention. And these guys that know how to do it will walk you through it. And it's just incredible the energy that they have to keep you going throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and I guess on a personal note, how are y'all doing? I mean, how is everybody? It's like, seriously.
Hey, I got to say, I like Sean's hat. That's pretty awesome. Ben, I liked your note about the sales thing. The funny part is I just had a conversation last night with my business partner, Liz, about that because she had a great sales meeting, but then a day later they turned around and were having issues with the price. And she forgot to dialogue about whether or not that price was a fit for them or not in the moment. And I had to tell her that's something I struggle with too. And so we're scheduling some time to do some sales role playing where we're going to play client and DJ and present price and then discuss the price and really ask questions that are pointed without really pushing for a close, but at the same time, letting them talk about what their objections are. So this is a great time to do the training. I think it's a fantastic time to exercise those muscles and strengthen the areas where we might not be as strong.
And a good opportunity to do with each other, and everybody's market's a little different. Everybody's client maybe is a little different, but a cool opportunity for, there are probably many of you in this group here who don't know each other. And what I think is really cool, so many years, so many conferences, I've got to know, I think pretty much all of you. And so, I see all of you as friends, but maybe you don't know the other person. I always love playing matchmaker. Oh, thanks, Mike. Just email it to
I
me.
thought we had just been bombed.
Yeah. No, just message it to me if you could, please. But what a great chance for maybe Joe to meet Michael or vice versa or whatever. People may or may not know each other, and to do those role-playing sales things with each other and pretend you're the client, and maybe you'll find things that fit you or don't fit you or work or don't work. Joe, I see your note about the SBA, and I'll tell you what, I've been thinking really hard about whether or not I wanted to say something about this, because I know a lot of people are struggling with this, and those people that are struggling are friends of mine. All of you, you're friends of mine, and so I don't want to say something that isn't helpful, but we've been funded by the SBA now, and I don't say that to gloat, not at all, because nobody's winning in this situation. There's nothing to gloat about. You know what I mean? But I do think that it comes back to some of the fundamental ties of relationship. We've banked with the community bank for about 20 years. And, the chairman of the board of the bank called me today on my cell phone. And so, maybe it's a time, and, this might be unpopular with people, but maybe it's a time if you're with Wells Fargo or Bank of America, maybe to rethink that relationship, because this is their moment to stand and deliver, and they're not doing it. I'm seeing friend after friend after friend getting turned away by Bank of America because they don't, or maybe it's US Bank. I don't know which it is, but because they don't have the right relationship. Well, anyway, like I said, maybe a chance to rethink those relationships and go make some new ones. One of our local economic development people, as we're trying very hard to keep people employed here and not have to lay employees off, called me at 11 p.m. I mean, I was actually a little irritated. He called me at 11 p.m., but he's calling me to, help us through this. So, yeah, Joe, I think everybody will get taken care of in the end. I certainly hope you do. But just my 2 cents on that. So
I have a question for the group. So kind of in line with this SBA topic, has anybody tried filing for unemployment in their state and actually gotten through to, okay, Michael, did you get through to the actual form to fill out, or did they just have the page set up?
Well, no, the third time was the charm. It was a little confusing. They told us here in Iowa that we could file as soon as the CARE Act was passed, and they said the funds aren't available, but you can go ahead and file. We did. I knew another guy that was kind of going through the same thing as a single operator, and we both got a little green letter a few days later that said, well, no, we weren't eligible or whatever, because at that time, even though they told us to go ahead and file, there was nothing there for the self-employed. But now they did make a provision for the self-employed, so we had to file again. There was nothing there that on that page though that said where they could get our income information from. Well, then a couple days later again, they finally made a provision for that. So the third time we filed. So that's where I'm at right now. Matter of fact, I just filed for the third time today. I had to get a PDF of my last year's tax return from my accountant to go ahead and attach to it. But that's where I'm at right now.
And you're in what state?
Iowa.
He's
See,
from my
Missouri
home
still
state of
isn't-
Iowa.
Yeah, Missouri still isn't live yet, at least as of yesterday. Anybody else able to get filed? Anybody had issues with it? Anybody even tried besides us? Okay, just
In
curious.
Chicago, it's nearly impossible, like always.
Yeah, and in Kansas, just from what I saw on the news this morning, just trying to file for unemployment period is just a nightmare. You can't get the websites keep crashing and such. So I don't know. I just was curious if anybody had actually gotten anything back from in the way of unemployment, because they're telling a lot of us that aren't that big that it might be the best way to go is file for unemployment. So
I filed in Wisconsin last week, and I thought I'd get something today. I had a previous full-time position at a radio station there.
Right.
And this past, about a year and a half ago. So that was the only way to go. I live in Illinois on the state line, but yeah, still waiting to see if I get anything. Nothing yet.
Well, I truly hope for the best for all of you. I really do. We are really all in this together, and it's, what's good for one is good for all. So, I do think that, I do think that we'll get there. I do think that it will get taken care of eventually. It's disheartening to see that we have, systems that are 50 years old that are handling these claims, and, we're seeing some of the shortcomings. And my biggest hope is that we will take note of this as a society and our leadership, and they'll fix it. That's my real hope. This is an opportunity, as much as it doesn't feel like one, but this is an opportunity, and not just an opportunity for us to do the things that we talked about, get our house in order, so to speak, but hopefully they will as well. So, and they will if we hold them accountable. It is a government of, by, and for the people. And regardless of your affiliations or beliefs or that sort of thing. I'm not picking sides. I'm saying they work for us, we vote. So.
Well, as far as the unemployment though, Ben, I can give them a bit of a pass because what was the figure? I heard it was like 3.3 million people filed in 1 week, 6.6 in the next. So
yeah, that's
almost
true.
10 million people. Yes. I mean,
When they're using 30-year-old equipment too, computers.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is when somebody comes to us with 1,047 songs that they would play at their wedding. It's.
You're right, Michael. You're right. It is an unprecedented demand, and I'll say that too. And I'm sorry, I'm just this is unique for me because usually I talk about physics and technology, and that's a pretty safe place to stay. As Peter said once, we were talking about his book, and your book had just come out, so that kind of dates this comment. And we were talking about how everything he says is an opinion, that everything he talks about for how to do, a wedding is an opinion, and everything I say is fact. And I was lamenting the fact. I was lamenting the fact that he has millions of potential, customers with brides that'll buy his book, and I have, only thousands of potential audience for technology. And he said, yes, that's true. He said, but they can argue with you, but they're wrong. So, this is one of those times where I'm not talking about technology and I can't hide behind fact. These are my opinions. But anyway, you make a good point. And so to say my opinion, Michael, you make a good point that behind these systems are people that are trying to use them in the state organizations. And there are people that are stocking the shelves at the grocery store. And there are people that are trying to manage people coming into hospitals that are afraid. And, I was looking at some of the state by state test results, and it's like 90% of the people that are being tested are negative, but people obviously were fearful enough that they wanted to be tested. And I think that's a very rational and normal thing. If you've got a cough and a fever, you probably want to be tested right now, right? Mm-hmm. So all these people that are working behind those systems and the people that are unloading trucks and stocking shelves and delivering the mail and working in healthcare, be kind to them. Be kind to them. They're going through a situation. They didn't ask for it either, right? Nobody wanted this thing. Nobody wanted this thing. So we can make each other's day a whole lot brighter.
Kind of to follow up on that, Ben, if I could just add number 9 to your list. If we had 8, maybe I missed it, but maybe
I got
9.
my pen. I'm going to write it down.
Okay. Make sure you spend a little time with your family as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I know we all get busy and I've had to sit through more episodes of This Is Us than I care to, but I'm home on a Tuesday night now. Yes. I mean, we've sat down. I put a laptop in, my lap, of course, to kind of, but at least I'm in the living room with my wife and kind of at least getting some family time in.
You're absolutely right. I don't know how many times I've had breakfast with my kids before this, but probably cumulatively not as many times as I have in the last 2 weeks. And we're all in the house together. And actually, I feel a little sorry for them because, like I said, I don't think I've ever been home for 2 weeks in a row. So the first casualty has been the cat. The cat is ready for us to be gone. He's had it. He's done. Like everybody out. But yeah, you're right. And when life gets back to normal, for me, that's going to mean a lot more, probably airplane time and bus time and hotel time. And you're right, Michael. I need to thank you for that. I appreciate that. I need to focus on that. Sue.
I also want to make sure to focus on what we have. All of us on a computer right now, we got this. I know a lot of people that are on food stamps that use the library for their computer. Libraries are closed.
Right.
They get food stamps, so they don't know if they're going to get this $1,200. They don't know what to do. They're just lost. They have a cell phone, and it's usually one of those cell phones that only has so many minutes on it. So we are very lucky here. I mean, like, the only thing I could think that could probably kill us all is if the internet goes down.
That would be the end.
Yeah, that would definitely spell doom.
I don't know if any of you have seen the videos that I posted about a week or two ago. I don't know, a month ago, a year ago, who knows anymore, right? But I think it was a week or two ago, I posted the video where I talked about my grandfather in South Dakota.
It's actually on this event page.
Oh, okay. Well, I got another one coming. And it kind of, sort of, these things write themselves kind of. I just noticed something I was doing and thought, I want to share this. And the post will be ever so cleverly titled "The Grapes of Quarantine," and you'll see why when you see it. And I'll probably shoot it in a day or two, maybe after Easter. But it's interesting you say that, because undoubtedly the darkest economic period we've ever had in our country was the Great Depression, which of course the book "The Grapes of Wrath" is about the Great Depression. And Steinbeck's book was banned in Russia. And the reason it was banned in Russia was because Stalin didn't want Russian citizens reading it and realizing that even at their most destitute, most Americans could still afford a car, And so you're right that we are incredibly privileged right now. And even those of us who are, those who are on food stamps, certainly they are less privileged than we are, but they are still privileged. There are literally billions of people in the world who would love to live in this nightmare right now, so because it would be such a substantial improvement. They would have clean water, they would have health care, they would have food stamps, they wouldn't live in squalid conditions and that sort of thing. So that's an excellent perspective. And I appreciate that, Sue. Thank you.
I want to point out a great reminder for both of us, Ben, was that somebody pointed out that Disc Jockey News TV has a ton of free content available as well. And actually you can get free access to DJNTV Insider. And I will post a link to that page on the event page after we're done here, so that if you want access to it, John is working really hard to make as much content available as possible to anybody who wants it. And I got to tell you, you said how many videos have you done? Like $200 videos with John. I think I've done probably 50 or more. So
we're rounding. It's approximately 200.
And our content's the only one you really need. Just the two of us. You got it covered from that. No, I'm just kidding. There's all sorts of great people. I know Mitch Taylor and help me out, Ben.
There's so many, actually.
Bill Herman, Randy Bartlett.
Bill who? Yeah,
I know.
Let's he's still not over me electrocuting him a few years ago. I don't know why he's holding so actually, Ron, it's funny because, like 100 years ago in February, we were in Vegas at the DJNTV conference as part of the Photo Booth Expo. And John has made all that content available via the DJNTV Insider. So even if you weren't there, you can watch all these presentations. Mine was eerily prescient, I think, to the situation we have now. I'd love to tell you I saw it coming, but I didn't. But what astounded me, and I said this even before the event, what astounded me was looking at that poster and looking at all the faces on that poster that we're going to be presenting and thinking, wow, how do I get to be a part of this thing? Like, there was so many, and these are regular contributors to John's channel. So you're right. Absolutely, Ron.
And actually, I'm going to make it real easy because I just pulled it up. If you go to DJNTV.com, click on DJNTV Insider, the button, it says it's for free. Get your membership for free. So just click on that and you will get into that particular program.
Yeah, didn't mean to turn this into an ad for John, but it's just great that he's
well, and John's a great supporter as well of this industry, so I don't feel real bad
about it. No doubt. Anybody else thoughts on things that are helping you to pass the time, or questions, or
anybody have a best educated guess on when do you think we'll be back gigging again?
Nobody does, and I mean, other people could chime in, but I think the truth is nobody really knows. I don't think it will be. I don't think it. Some articles are talking about like years, and here's why I don't think that'll be the case at all. Societal fatigue. People just won't do it.
Yeah.
People will revolt. I mean, that, and 2 weeks has felt like an eternity already. So I think it'll be on the magnitude of. Months, but again, I don't know. Nobody does. And anybody that says they do, they're fooling themselves, so. But
well, I did see one thing out there that said It might be October, September at the earliest before we're ready to have events again. Now, I know that Wuhan, China had a big celebratory opening again yesterday, and looking at their whole pandemic, it looks like it was about 3.5 months. So if we look at the middle of March, that probably would take us to the beginning of July, at least. I'm crossing my fingers it's that soon.
I think there are, and I don't know. I'm not an expert. I read a lot, but that doesn't make me an expert. But we have to achieve essentially, one critical thing, and that is some level of immunity, whether it's through herd immunity, which means everybody has to get it and get better, assuming that we do in fact get immunity from antibodies from the virus, which we don't factually know yet, or we need a good vaccine. So, but I think that, what we really need is rapid testing. And once we can isolate, tuberculosis is a great example. I won't make everybody listen to this, but if you want to see how you beat a pandemic, and this is me, I'm a sound guy, I don't really know, but this is my opinion, is look at how we beat tuberculosis. And I think that's a great playbook to look at. And when was the last time anybody you knew was affected by TB?
Mm-hmm.
So point. I think that's a great playbook. And I think that's a playbook we can roll out a lot faster.
I have to ask, I saw Joe shaking his head no when I said July. Thoughts, Joe? Oh, you're muted yet, Joe. Okay.
I'm really just despondent because one of my other types of events that I do are the classic car shows, and I just live for those. I mean, a lot of that is my midweek income as well. And I know I've got a lot of friends and a huge community of followers in that, and they're just dying right now. They just want to get their cars out, and we want to be able to meet at the venues and have these shows, but I don't know when it's going to happen. So.
Nobody knows when it's going to happen, Joe, but it is going to happen. That I think is more importantly than the when. We just have to focus on the what. It is going to happen.
Yeah.
Arenas and ballparks are not going to be empty forever. And it's funny you wrote, I miss baseball. I do too, and I don't even like baseball. I used to play it, and I actually wasn't that bad. And then after the strike way back, I kind of quit liking it. And so I know if I miss baseball, everybody misses baseball.
Well, I'm not a Cubs fan. Even I'm in Illinois, but I'm a White Sox, Chicago White Sox, and they just went nuts in the off season to rebuild, and I was so looking forward to the start of this. Hey, all right, there you go.
I think the only game they won was the one I went to, so you're welcome.
Thank you. That's awesome. We'll have to go to a game sometime.
You know what? That's a deal, my friend. That is it. And like I said, I don't know. I don't think the whole summer is shot. I really don't. But even if it is, we'll get through this. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Someday. And again, we all have these examples. Everybody knows somebody who was in the Great Depression or something, and everybody's got those experiences. But the people we knew were so far removed from that. And that is proof that we're going to get through this. And this is going to be in my little Grapes of Quarantine video, which I'm still kind of thinking about how to say what I want to say and not make it, 20 minutes long. But I'll give you kind of a precursor. All the people who sat through everything else here, I'll give you this. My grandmother on my dad's side was also a farm family, which many families were farm families at that time, particularly in the Midwest. And her dad lost his arm in a farm accident. And so even though she was still a child herself, she then ended up becoming the caretaker of the other siblings and her father while he healed, and that sort of thing. Survives the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. And then there's World War II, which nobody asked for either, right? And her husband, who would be my grandfather, was a pharmacist mate in the Navy. The ship he was on was torpedoed and sunk. He survives that. So the Navy says, well, we're not going to make you go back on a boat or a ship. They make him a corpsman and send him with the Marines to Iwo Jima. He survives that and is killed as a police officer in Sioux City, Iowa. So she's widowed with children, you know, and endures all these things which occur 20 years before I come around. By the time I come around, I mean, these are just things that have made her who she is. They've become part of her character and part of her experience. But she's just probably the kindest, hardest working, most selfless person I've ever met in my life, you know? So I don't know. I just think that, you know, someday this is going to be in the history books and we're going to be the old people and history is going to judge us by how we act right now. So we have a chance to make our mark on history and to show our own level of greatness. I don't think we'll ever be as great as the greatest generation, but maybe with a little luck and you know, if we act right, maybe we could be the second greatest.
So we have to start thinking about winding this down, unfortunately, Ben. So here's what I'd like to do. I tried this last week, but this week I'm going to be a little bit more insistent because I want to end this on a happy note, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing these in the first place, was try to take people's mind off of what was going on, maybe give them some incentive, some inspiration to think about moving forward. Discovery is far better than just thinking about recovery. So what I want you to think about real quick is one good thing that you've either seen this week, thought about this week, did this week, something that you did that was a good thing. What something that maybe made you happy, or that you saw, or that you did yourself. And I'll start. This week, two things happened. One, I went on a picnic with my wife for the first time in 29 years because, hey, virus. And we were, fortunately, we live in just a couple miles away from a big county park with a lake. And they've shut off all the playgrounds and such, but they've left the picnic tables open, which kind of surprised me. But we had a beautiful view of the lake, and I had a wonderful time having a picnic with my wife. Second was starting today, I'm starting on my book. I actually sent out emails today saying, and if you're interested in being a part of my project, and I'm going to go a shameless plug here, I'm doing a 15-minute video series with wedding professionals on ways that you have exceeded expectations of your customers. And from that video series, I hope to also produce a book. If you'd like to be a part of that, just send me an email at ron@ronruth.com with book in the subject line, and I will respond to that. So I'm excited about that. That's what happened when I took off yesterday. Is I came in the day and I said, I'm going to finally do this. So who else has got something they want to share? It's anything that's great that's happened.
I've done something similar. Our local parks are open, although the playgrounds and stuff like that is closed.
Right.
And so I went out and I actually found a trail walking around a lake that has been there for 25 years that I have lived in this house, and I didn't know it was there. And I have enjoyed going out and walking that trail several times a week. So
I love walking.
The weight from going up.
Yeah, my wife and I try to make it a habit to go walking every day. Who else? Come on. Keep them coming.
Well, I've had, go ahead, Ellen.
I'm working on the corollary to Ron's book. I'm going to gather some professionals about over-promising and under-delivering. I've got a long history of that, and I feel like it's going to be something that maybe people will want to buy both of our books. So they'll get the yin and the yang.
If you don't sit up straight in that chair, Ellen, you're going to walk like that.
I like being chill.
I'm just saying.
Okay, here's my better posture, and
there you go.
Several dozen old CD cases above my head, Ron.
All right. Who else? Come on, keep them coming. What else? Mike, you got one? Michael?
Yeah, my son, of course, is a teacher, which he's not teaching right now. But so since he's been in quarantine, we have an 18-month-old granddaughter, so we've been doing quite a few video chats here in the last couple of weeks, more so than usual. And this week he sent us some pictures. They took the granddaughter out for a walk, and she picked up her first worm. They had bunnies in the yard. Ooh. And then there's a picture where she's like holding a newspaper, like she's reading the newspaper. So we shared that on Facebook. We thought that was pretty cute. I mean, and again, if we were just running crazy doing our 8-to-5 jobs, I mean, we probably wouldn't have had time to see all that.
And there's Martin Kehoe all the way from Ireland in his attic, who I'm sure he's got some. Oh, I know he's got good news. Share the good news you shared last time, because that's good news.
Well, my 19-year-old daughter is pregnant. I'm going to be a granddad in early August. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things I've started doing is I just seen a friend post a Facebook thing about, does my child look like me? So he says, I've got loads of children. I can keep that going for a week and a half almost. So each day I put a photograph of myself and one of my kids. I started with the youngest. Now I didn't do it yesterday or today because unfortunately my dad's sister passed away on Tuesday. So we were up at the funeral home today and she's getting buried tomorrow morning, and there's only 10 people allowed in the church. So I have to drive my dad up and wait outside while he's in the church. But what they've been doing over here for funerals is when they're driving down the roads towards the church from their house, because they usually pass the person's house who's died, they're going to be driving into the estate, and all the neighbours and anyone who can't obviously go to the church because they're only allowed 10 in, all the neighbours are just going to be outside forming a big line along the road as she passes along. So it'll be a little bit weird because, like, Irish weddings we're famous for our wakes, where we celebrate their lives and reminisce and get twisted on their behalf. But we're not able to do that now with this damn virus. But that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But that's what I was doing previously, though. Before that, I just stopped out of respect for my auntie. But I was posting up a photo of my kids. They look like me. And I've 3 done so far. I have 6 more to do.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that, Martin. My condolences.
Thankfully, it wasn't from COVID, but it's just been bad for the past 4 months. But thankfully, it wasn't from COVID. If it had been, nobody would be allowed at the funeral.
Go, Sue.
Anybody got any leftover CDs that they're just hanging around? Do me a favor and make some CDs that are full of like big band music and deliver them to your local nursing home, because they're all on lockdown. They can't have visitors. They would really appreciate that. Or if you got like old DVDs like Johnny Carson, stuff like that, just make them a copy. They'll take it.
Awesome. Good idea. Sean Passon, you got something for us?
Yeah, just spending time with my son, just being able to go out and just explore in the backyard, just like hopping over stumps, doing stuff, doing that dangerous dad stuff, throwing them up in the air. It's just been some great time, a great bonding time as a parent.
Throwing your child around, is that what I heard you say?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Drive fast and take chances.
Peter, you got something for us?
I got to unmute. Hey, yeah, Audrey and I actually watched a story on 60 Minutes the other day that turned out better than we were expecting. It was all about what's happening in New York with COVID and small businesses and people losing jobs and spending, 5 days straight calling unemployment and not being able to even get through. And you're like, it was so depressing. And then they showed one business that was doing convention services, like building displays. And the guy had to let a lot of people go, and he retooled and started making face shields for the medical workers, and wound up being able to hire back like 300 people and kept the money all local and was able to keep them working. And they were also, as a result, able to keep some restaurants in the area working. And it was just so neat to finally see a story that ended on a high note instead of just the downer of, the reality of what everybody's facing right now. So it made me wish that I could find some way to retool what I do to help the medical workers, but I'll come up with something.
Well, here in Kansas City, the grocery stores are hiring, delivery people are hiring. I mean, there's hiring going on. It's just where you want to, if you can. And also speaking on those face masks, going back to John Young for a moment, his boys now are using their 3D printers to make face masks today. Really? Wow. Joe, what do you got?
But on a high note, Ron sent me a referral yesterday. And actually 2 days ago, I talked to the bride last night, and it looks like she's going to be booking me for a November wedding. So thank you, Ron.
I just send the check.
Hey, Ron, I know I'm not visible on
Sure you are.
YouTube, but
hey,
I just want to be able to say, you mentioned the face mask, and there are YouTube videos that are showing you how to make a face shield from the soda bottles, the big old, like Pepsi bottles.
Really?
And Coke bottles. It's very simple. It's so easy. Everyone can be protected by making one of those. It's very easy. Soda bottles, pop bottles, whatever you want to call them. But it's the giant plastic 2-liter bottles you want to make them out of.
The correct pronunciation, Robin, is soda pop. So I just wanted to make that clear, not just
Actually,
soda.
When you're in Atlanta, it's just a Coke bottle. It doesn't matter what product is actually in it. It's a Coke bottle.
It's a 2-liter in California.
Exactly.
Just go to YouTube and search for face mask made or DIY bottles.
We'll do it. That's a good idea.
And Neil McKinney, when you're in San Francisco, it's called a Coke straw. So.
Oh, okay, very good.
Joe, go.
Yeah. Yes. Basically, what I've been trying to do is get organized. The office, I've been working in here for about the last 2 weeks, just straightening things up, filing things the way they should be. I've got a studio that I'm working on, a little voice studio in the other room here. And
Awesome.
so I want to try to get that going here before too long. And then yard work at home until it started snowing today here. So,
well, if it's snowing, you can't play outside anyway. You might as well play inside.
That's right.
Mike, I'm sorry, Mike, I can't pronounce. How do you pronounce your last name? Herben. Mike, you got something for us?
Yeah, I've just been reconnecting with family that some of them I haven't talked to in 10 years, all on this video stuff, which is kind of new for me, and just learning a lot about this video. And that's why that thing popped up, because I thought I was just putting it on my feed, but I apologize. But no, just reconnecting with family. It's been great. And now we have weekly scheduled conversations, different sections of the family that we're going to talk to each week. So
that's awesome. I actually thought about trying to maybe do some family history time with my granddaughter during this downtime over like Zoom or something, talking about, me growing up and what I remember about my folks and sisters and brothers. That might be fun as well. Kevin, what do you got?
Well, I kind of jumped into this. I'm a part-time DJ and a part-time musician and a full-time programmer. But what I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been musicians, and I'm in Arizona, in north of Phoenix, in a little town called Cave Creek. Most of the musicians don't interact with each other because they're all working at the same time. And by having some technology, I've got a little bit of a technology background, we've been doing a lot more of trying to promote each other through whether it's live feeds or promoting videos on Facebook pages or whatever. So there's been a lot of connection between musicians that I wouldn't say we all compete against each other, but it's sort of like this with DJs. If you're a profitable, good DJ, you never talk to another DJ on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Well, musicians are the same way. So it's been nice to connect with people on a more personal basis than just what you see when you go watch them do a gig somewhere.
Right.
You don't program COBOL by chance.
No.
You could just name your price right now.
Thanks, Ben. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
I took a little of COBOL in school, but
Daru, you joined us later. I don't know if you know what we're doing, but we're just doing happy thoughts. Anything happy happened to you this week? Or are you doing something that's making you happy?
Well, I generally am happy. So I'm just trying to spread the message of love to everybody. And when you live in New York, you sometimes that Central Standard Time just throws you off. And I caught this and I saw some who's who and I said, I'm going to join you. So I'm doing some of the same things I heard, doing the office thing and trying to hone my skills and get into some meetings like this, because how many times do all of us event professionals have a chance to just do this kind of thing?
That's right. We're glad to have you too.
Two thumbs up.
Lance, you're the last one. You want to open your mic and share with us?
Sure. Yeah, this week our river walks are open, so we're doing a lot more walking. We explored an area that we hadn't gone down before and found our little town has a small arboretum that we knew nothing about. So we'll have to definitely check that out as it blooms even more and gets more green. So that was really kind of cool to find out and find. So that was good.
Where are you, Lance?
Down in Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Okay. I heard Riverwalk. I thought maybe you were down in Texas somewhere.
Oh no, just a small one through our local river.
All right, Ben, it's to you, man. You're the last one. Bring it home.
You know what? I think I said enough already. I got the bully pulpit here today. So instead, I will use my time to just say that hopefully everybody has a wonderful Easter weekend. Regardless of your religious beliefs or convictions, it was a pretty rough week for Jesus too, and that turned out okay. So, we're going to be fine.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for hosting today. I very much appreciate it. And to all of you, thank you so much for being here. We are on YouTube, so if you want to go back and pick up on any of the video that you may have missed, Martin and Daru and Lance, it's on the DJNTV YouTube channel. As soon as I end this meeting here, you'll be able to watch it there. So thank you all for being here. We're going to do this again next week. Watch for the invitations. We'll have a lot of fun. Until then, see y'all.
Thanks,
So good to see you all. Thank you for coming so I could see your faces. Appreciate you.
Bye.